was questioning being a parent of special needs children to two.
Yeah.
I was like, why am I going through this? Why do I have special needs kids? Let it make sense. Because as at now, it was just feeling like God is being unfair.
Yeah.
Many caregivers are going through a lot. It's just that not everyone has the energy to keep shouting about it or to bring it to fore.
Yeah.
And that's why we do what we do. We
And
try and speak. That the difference in everything is that first step of showing up for yourself.
Yeah.
Show up for you. At least you won't live with the regret of what if I had gone, if you miss a chance.
Yeah.
Yes. And sometimes that window could be the greatest door or gate to everything you've always wanted. Because that's how I found my purpose.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, I want to be a runway model because I wanted to. And then I was told I was like 1 centimeter short, 1 inch. Yes. Because it's supposed to be,
It's supposed to be at
I'm
a
like,
particular
it's supposed to be
height.
like 5'7", I'm
Yeah.
5'6".
Yeah.
So I was told I can't, and I was so gutted, and I was only 18, you know? And that's how my journey came. So from Miss Africa Elite, Miss Universal, Miss United Nation, Elite Face of Africa, Queen of Africa, Mrs. United Nation finalist for Africa. I am now currently number 3 in the world as Mrs. Universal Empire. Let me also cut the other demystification that I did this for.
Yeah.
Beauty with brains exists.
Right. It is a pleasure to have you on this particular seat here, and I am flattered or even honored that you've been following the conversations. Because sometimes when you create, you're like, is there anybody? Because on a Pataga you have 3 views, 4
I
views,
know,
5
right?
views, but now it's encouraging when you hear if you moja ni ya mtu fulani unajua. Yeah, it's amazing. For those who do not know you, kindly introduce yourself and tell us who you are.
Okay, so my name is Dr. Sylvia Moraa Mochabo Akinsiku.
Yes, Akinsiku.
Yes, no,
That's
see,
a
you
West-
got it.
That's a West African name.
Yes.
So
Yeah,
you went for the West African men.
No, I tried Kenya, it failed, so I jumped ship.
So
I
you
did
not-
6 years in Kenya and
Yeah.
it didn't work out. I did being alone for 10 years.
Yeah.
And then my Prince Charming came from the West. And, you know, I ran as fast as I could. Like they always say, you know, you always hear about the way, oh, yeah, the West. You know the drift.
Yeah, I know.
But,
I know.
yeah, you
We've
know.
had stories.
No, I have experienced it. So I certify, verify.
Yeah, certified and verified.
Yes.
Kitu tu imebaki ni seal ya KEBS.
Exactly. Nah, then they don't even need it. I think kama kuna international seal. That's
Yeah.
the one that is.
Wow. Those are hizo ni props za juu sana.
Yeah.
I'm getting one thing right now as we are starting this conversation, that you do not dwell on the same thing over and over again. Kama haiwork, you move on to the next.
Very fast.
Where do you get that from?
There is a quote that I used to enjoy when I was in high school.
Yeah.
Worry is like a rocking chair. It will give you something to do,
Yeah.
but take you nowhere.
Worry is like?
A rocking chair. It will give you something to do,
Yeah.
but it will take you nowhere.
Because uko tu hapo na
Uko tu
swing
hapo tu,
Yeah.
hapo tu,
Yeah.
you know,
Umekuwa
nowhere.
Nyashinski.
Exactly. my country people.
Yeah.
So, and that was something that I have lived with, and being the best version. And people come into your life for a reason, a season, or a lifetime.
Yeah.
The wisdom in identifying when to walk away is the other thing that my mentor taught me, both in business, and I applied it in my personal space. In business, I was holding, it will turn around, and it's like, no, your losses are getting worse, just cut off now and move. Because I'm like, let's put in some more. So you need that wisdom in every, you know, something can be said in one context, but applying it can apply in every sphere of your life. And for me, that I think is what counts. And as much as it's not so easy, I had to learn to be selfish. I was too much of a giver. Too much. I'm the male, you know the way they say male being simps? Mimi ndio wale tulizaliwa. DNA reads that way. So I had to really...
You just did not show us dust in the beginning of this conversation.
No, it is just real life facts of what it is. And the other thing is, like, I don't have to make all their mistakes. So if someone made the mistake, I learn from their mistake and make sure I don't do the same.
On the simping issue, is it really simping, or somebody is just naturally good? It's just that this generation
wameamua tu kuharibu yes, it is just being you. Your love language is your love language. You can't change it. But the problem is there we have so many narcissists right now who take advantage of good people from experience.
Yeah.
Yes. So I had to learn that the hard way and know when to count my losses and take the lessons that you pick from the experiences. Dust yourself and move. Yes.
Doctor, medical, professional, or honorarium,
Honored.
as our people, as our
Honoris
people from
causa.
As our people from Central Kenya would say honorarium. Yes.
Mine is a honorarium.
Yes.
One, because of the work that I do, supporting the community.
Yeah.
So I got my doctorate from the Christian University in the US.
Yeah.
And I was actually the youngest doctor to ever been bestowed with the honor.
Yeah.
And it was so flattering because they were like, we usually take from this age to this age. You're nowhere close. Like I was 2 years younger than the people they normally honor.
Yeah.
And I was like, it's
amazing.
Your work, your heart that speaks.
Yeah.
It's not about my age. It's what God has been able to do through me.
Yeah.
Service to humanity is a way of serving God. It's not always just about standing at the pulpit, but we serve God in very many ways.
Yeah.
So mine was more inclined to that, service above self.
Before we talk about the work, what is the journey that leads into the work?
Experience. I know Mhesh Esther asked me, what is the best way to learn about disability?
Yeah.
And my answer was nothing beats experience. You can sit in class all you want, but you can never equate it to walking that journey because there are things that are not teachable in life.
Yeah.
You can only go through it. And it's not an easy journey because you have to have your vision, you have to know why you're doing it. And that's one of the very key important things that people don't get and then fall off. If you're in it for the wrong reason, you're definitely not going to make it the whole 9 years because there are days that it will kill the inner core of yourself and you need to find that why you're in it to keep you moving. Your why is the one constant thing that will keep you in the game or out of it in whatever it is you do in life. So when you're starting and thinking of setting up or doing anything, that is your greatest question. Why am I doing this? Then the how and then where and then you answer those basic questions. And I don't know if it's just me, there are people who just on a whim and I'm doing it, but I am a stickler for details. If God puts it in me, the first thing being the graphic designer that I am, I will do the logo first.
Then you'll start thinking about the typefaces.
Exactly. No, I don't know why, but I never get to start something until I see at least 3/4 of the journey, or I convince myself, and I work with as much as someone has told me, I always see the negative. It has always worked in my advantage. Because if you don't look at the negatives, you're not ready for it. For me, I will look at all the negative case scenarios, think of my solutions, then I know I'm ready. If I don't have an answer for it, let it pause. I will consult my mentors. They're very important. The people who've gone ahead of you for a reason. Remember I said learning from other people's experiences and mistakes. So they'll be able. So in every aspect of my life, I have personal life mentor. I have a mentor in my advocacy space, and I have a mentor in my business side. So that if I'm like, I'm not sure of this decision, maybe, even when you're driving, there's something called a blind spot. So if there is a blind spot, your mentor and a friend who has your best interest at heart is able to see what you cannot see. Because when you're so invested, you'll see the glorious sunshine. You miss the clouds, you miss the thunders that are coming and uploading. So it's very important to have that inner boardroom. Yes.
Having board meetings with yourself.
Yes.
Tell us about the sash and the crown.
So it's been a long journey. When I was deciding to get into advocacy space, I had also when I had to start with inner self-work. It was not easy. Then in one of the sessions with my mentors called Mr. Karung, no, wait, I'll get it right. One of my coaches, so to speak, not mentor per se, but more like life coach. Karungu. Why do I have a feeling I'm saying that wrong? I've had so many close friends in the same whatever with that There is that just one letter. No,
Yeah.
one letter in the Kikuyu that makes it so different amongst them. It's either the G or a D.
Yeah.
And I just let me call a spade like
Yeah.
that one at least has slipped. But he took me through that. There's a statement he likes saying, a passion biz is his business, but the personal name has disappeared. James is his first name.
Yeah.
So he was like, what is your Mombasa? Like, what is that ideal? You know, the way tourists want to come for the sunshine, the sandy beaches, etc. So paint that picture for yourself. And I had to write down all my childhood dreams. And one day I just sat with my childhood dreams later after, of course, the life coaching session, which helped me put back my past and move forward. So I was like, okay, I want to be a runway model because I wanted to. And then I was told I was like 1 centimeter short, 1 inch. Yes, because it's supposed to be,
It's supposed to be at a particular
it's supposed to be
height.
like 5'7". I'm 5'6".
Yeah.
So I was told I can't. And I was so gutted, and I was only 18, you know? So, but the other thing that it taught me is don't let the naysayers mean you can't do it. God's timing is the best.
Yeah.
I went back to that runway at 35 for the first time. Yes. When I told myself I'm going to all my goals I had,
That is 20
car,
years later.
land,
Yeah.
whatnot. Yeah. And I actually realized I had done all of it. But then there was this nagging thing of what's my purpose and what does God want me to do? Because I was questioning being a parent of special needs children to 2.
Yeah.
I was like, why am I going through this? Why do I have special needs kids? Let it make sense. Because as at now, it was just feeling like God is being unfair.
Yeah.
And that word that he put in me of be the voice and speak on behalf. And then I was like, so show me how. You know, that Moses moment of like, God, I even stammer. How do you want me to go speak to the king?
Absolutely.
And I can't even do a full sentence without butchering it. And God said, you just go.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, I'll just do it. Then I was like, hey, wait a minute. My childhood dream was exactly. And a friend of mine kept telling me, Sylvia, you have the body for modeling. I'm like, I'm not a miss. I'm already divorced. I was like, I'm sure we will find something. And she went out of her way to find a pageant that would fit me. And see the importance of the people in your life.
Absolutely.
Yes.
The company that we keep.
Yes. So she found it. She got me an appointment. I sat with this lady. They called South Africa. I went, and like they said, the rest is history. I came back with 19 awards, 19 awards,
You're
3
like,
titles.
I will show you the Kenyan in me.
You know, I like challenges. Let me not lie to you. So I came back with 3 titles, 3 broken what do you call it, records in their 20 years of pageantry. I got 100% in 3 of their challenges. And I was like, actually, I did it. So I went in there, and my cause was, I'm going to be the voice. I will use this as the platform to get my voice heard about inclusion of persons with autism and empowering of caregivers. And that's how my journey came. So from Miss Africa Elite, from Miss Universal, Miss United Nation, Elite Face of Africa, Queen of Africa, Mrs. United Nation finalist for Africa. I am now currently number 3 in the world as Mrs. Universal Empire. So yeah, that's how it started.
I think at this moment the viewer is like, okay, Alan umeamua tu leo tulete superstar. But
no, I'm just a typical human being doing small ways extraordinary. It's the small things that count to where you are. Because if I had not taken that step of, if I continued with the excuse, oh, I'm divorced, I can't be in the missus because I'm not married, I can't, we always tell ourselves the reasons why we cannot do something. And that's why you need those outside people who can see what you can do that sometimes you yourself cannot see.
Would you then say that some people are stagnant because they do not have people who are saying things for them?
It's not about that. It's about also consulting. Because maybe the people who are afraid, or your people are afraid of telling you because you might react. Remember, there's also personalities, how we take it. So it's not about what is said. It's how we interpret it and how we take it most of the time. So if you don't take it as a positive self-build-up, you see, utaona tu mtu anitaki. You know, this person is not, doesn't want me to prosper.
Yeah.
You know. Yeah. So it's how we react to things that actually makes the difference. And I had a choice of when she put the appointment, I had a choice of just like
showing up or even not
exactly.
showing up.
So there is also one thing that I was told, that the difference in everything is that first step of showing up for yourself.
Yeah.
Show up for you. At least you won't live with the regret of what if I had gone, if you miss a chance.
Yeah.
Yes. And sometimes that window could be the greatest door or gate to everything you've always wanted. Because that's how I found my purpose.
Yeah.
Because I feel like I'm living my dream in terms of, it got me to a level, speaking out about the challenges of caregiving, brought me peace. It brought me that level of, I have managed to conquer and things can get better. I've prayed to God that as you use me to do this, please help me to also balance it on taking care of my children. And that wisdom sometimes only comes from above.
Yeah.
And most people always ask me, Sylvia, you're doing so many things. Do you think I'd be sitting at the National Council if I had not taken that step? You understand? Yeah. And that is something that was not in my dreams. I just wanted to be my top 40 under 40 best graphic designer.
That is my vision. You wanted to be at.
Exactly. Yeah. Even when I was having my life coach, for me it was, Tech Hub Creations, you know. Yeah. I streamlined it. It looked pretty. But still I was empty after that. Yeah. And there is that thing that I like saying, that every ceiling once reached becomes a floor. And the thing with advocacy, that ceiling is always moving. You're always, every
reached
becomes a floor to the next ceiling that you have to chase.
Yeah.
Right?
You're using a lot of wisdom this morning.
I am a wise woman, man. Let me also cut the other demystification that I did this for.
Yeah.
Beauty with brains exists.
Beauty with brains. Most of the times wanasemaga
you cannot have both.
Karembo lakini akili hapo ndio
we are here as a testament that it does exist.
From your advocacy work, and I've seen in people in this space, I think they are so guilty of this. Do you ever look at yourself as the savior? That this is supposed to end on you? I ask this question because we need to enlighten people, because we tend to gobble up this particular space and say, I am the person who's actually, I would say, even when I was starting out in my own work, I was like, this has to stop on me. But now growing through it, you realize, okay, there is somebody who else is going to come up and they are going to have better ideas than me.
Do you know what I do?
No.
I mentor. I mentor.
I
can't be everywhere. I can't be in all the spaces. So I have a few mentors and I create the space. Yeah. So, for example, like when I was here, I was at Science TV when I started the Neuro Digest show. I brought on board the verbal autistics for them to voice out. And if I look at someone like Sash from where she was to where she is
today,
if I look at Karen, the first time we went with her, I think, was it NTV or KTN, to her standing as an influencer in the space. We have Nick, who started his own podcast, who started his own, farm for empowering others. These are people I've had conversations. That is the Mr. Autism. Then we look at the Miss Autism lady. I've actually had sessions with models to just change that narrative and let them see the bigger picture. It's not about you. And one thing I always tell myself, titles come and go. What you do with it, with the time you have been bestowed with that title.
That is the most important thing.
Exactly. What will you be remembered for? You won't live forever, right?
That is so harsh. That is so painful.
It is the
truth. Painful, but it's the truth.
It is the truth. Let's call a spade a spade.
Not a big spoon.
It's not a big spoon. You cannot say it's upon me. You can't do everything. You can't go. It's about teamwork. Hata Yesu alikuwa na disciples, my friend.
And just probably for context, for those who might not know the names that you have just dropped, those are some of the most famous persons on the autism spectrum.
The neurodivergent vocal, because you remember not most of them are vocal, but just identifying and bringing them forward. And that's why under our Neurodigest program at Andy Speaks, we have the media liaison.
Yeah.
When I'm called to speak, I don't always have to. So the first one, I will go with them.
Yeah.
The next one, I will send them on their own and let them speak. And then if opportunities arise, point them towards it. And I'm so happy that now they have a group, a Kenyan group for the neurodivergent.
Yeah.
And they encourage each other. They share, you know, you ever sit like, I think it's the nurturing nature in me. And every time I'm just seeing this one is doing this, I'm so super proud.
Excited, yeah.
No, I'm not. I'm proud. Like they think we couldn't do it, but see, we're doing it. They're doing it. But it doesn't. The bus doesn't always to have to stop and end with you. I'm happy that I'm seeing many other organizations are coming on board.
Yeah.
My only thing is for the right reason. If your heart is in the right space, I will stand with you no matter what.
Yeah.
That is just my bottom line. Is that your heart, and you'll see that's why. I usually focus on what's your why. Remember I told you about your why?
Yeah.
Why are you getting in this? Why are you doing what you're doing? What's your end game?
Yeah.
What do you seek to achieve? Because with that clarity, you will not get waylaid.
Yeah.
You know, if you're getting support for grant, then you're going to use it for the right reason. Because you remember, integrity is also key in everything that you do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We were having a conversation and you told me, you shared or you intimated that somebody looked at you and they were like, you don't look like a person who has children with special needs.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
How did that take you aback? And you could also give us sort of a glimpse of your parenting journey with children who are on the autism spectrum.
If I take you 10 years, I actually look like a parent. You know, like the way Facebook brings you memories.
Yeah.
It brought me 25th March, 10 years ago. And I'm like, okay, I wasn't so bad. Man.
Yeah. But you're like,
I was still pretty. I was still, but you know, you could see the pain in me because I was still working on me.
Yeah.
You know, at that time, my first child was like 3 years.
Yeah.
I was still navigating. I was going through my divorce. And of course, I still wasn't looking like it, like looking like it. Because it can age you. Caregiving can age you. I met a lady and she gave me her age. And I'm like, you must be joking. Because she looked like 45.
Yeah.
And she's telling me she's 20-something.
Yeah.
But that's what life does to you. But when we carry too much of this burden and forget ourselves in the process. Do you know one thing that I was told during a course I did called Alabastron, where it is about rediscovering yourself.
Yeah.
And Laimani says that at the end of the day, you are you. When you were born, it was Sylvia. They named you.
Yeah.
Then they related with you in terms of this is Sylvia's mom, Sylvia's sister, Sylvia. So you are all that after you were you.
Yeah.
The problem in life, we focus so much on who we are to other people that we forget
Who we are initially.
Yeah. So my children will go and leave me, and then I'll sit there with my rugged 50-year-old look when I'm 30. And then what? Kegwere, my friend, I still had ambitions of getting married again.
Yeah.
Which actually came to pass.
Yeah.
But it just starts with you. Self-care should not be taken for granted.
Yeah.
It's not the end of the world. That's easier said than that. I acknowledge that. I acknowledge it because I was there, and it felt like the world was over when I was going through acceptance, my divorce, and trying to make sense out of life. But the trick is picking yourself on time and doing what you need to do.
Yeah.
Because you can't give from an empty cup, bros. You can't. So you have to take care of you, then you'll be able to take care of that child.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're doing a disservice to both of you.
Demystify that line. You can't pour from an empty cup. In an advocacy perspective, how would you correlate the two? Because when I look at many advocates who start in this particular journey, they start with nothing, because you have to build up credibility for you as a person and the work that you are doing, and then probably the outfit that you are creating. Say Andy Speaks, you don't wake up one day and then you have what to give. From an advocate point of view, how would you relate the two words?
First of all, once you accept yourself and you're like, I'm going to do this and I'm going to carry others, you're already full in that you have accepted your situation and you're not allowing yourself to be in the pity party, but you're going to hold someone else and bring them up.
So this empty does not really mean resources. It can be also how
You
have
perceive.
decided, resolved to do that particular thing.
Exactly. Resources come. Like this, who sang that song of every child comes with its own plate? Yes.
Sauti Sol.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you find yourself, I know like the first one, when I started Andy Speaks, I remember that conviction came, I was struggling with the name Why Lie. Like I had gotten clarity from above of what I want, but then how? I had how, and then I was just like, okay, so what is the name? I did not want it to be about me because it's not about me.
Yeah.
And that's why it's Andy Speaks. Andy is my son, Andrew. And he was, he's the first of the two neurodiverse kids that I have.
Yeah.
And I was about to use a very heavy word. And the challenges I faced raising him and the challenges I saw him go through being non-speaking is why we call it Andy Speaks. So speaking on behalf of children, speaking on behalf of caregivers, you understand? Then I called my community because you see, it took me being confident and okay with being labeled because the labels will come.
Yeah, absolutely.
Being labeled and people knowing who did not even know that I had special needs kids. But it took me being okay. It took me going away on a retreat to get myself together, to forgive, to be okay and to be in that, let's do this, and be ready and willing to hold others and bring them to this similar space of being okay and being ready and willing to make a difference, you know? And that's when now I called my friends and I was like, I'm starting this, which is actually 5 years ago. Andy Speaks is turned 5 in January, but we launched it on my birthday on the 29th of March.
You're like, no, we have to celebrate these two things at the same time.
So I remember it was my 35th birthday. And I was like, my friends, I'm just come. We'll have a small bitings. This is the contribution. That's how I got my startup kit of doing the first ride for autism. And then everyone believed we could not do it. You know, when you're telling someone we are cycling from Nairobi to Kisii, 16
like,
counties,
okay?
They're like, okay, let's see you do it. You know, when now we were in the media saying, oh, from Nairobi, we are here, that's when now people want to come on board. And that's human beings for you. And you have to be okay with it. Proof of concept.
Yeah, there is something that you did right there. You caught yourself going to say a word and you actually called you back. You call yourself back and you're like, no, I'm not going to use that word. I've seen parents use tough words on their children. How have you grown the awareness of saying, no, I don't need to say this at this moment. I just need to find another word for it.
Sometimes it slips. I will not. You have to be very conscious about it. You remember that thing in computer that you are told garbage in, garbage out? Exactly. The same thing you put in to your child is the same thing that will come out. And it's the same thing in our behaviors and some of the tricks that you learn in special needs. Because your child can't talk. If you see them behaving in a certain way, there is a reason. They're reacting to something they have seen or experienced.
It's not happening by chance.
It's not by chance. A child will not just wake up and curse. They heard it, they saw it, or it was told to them.
It was done over and over again, so they picked it up.
They pick it up. Because we are just monkey see, monkey do most of the time. Children come as a clean slate. Wana kitabu ya empty pages. The content of it is upon us as parents, and it's a very big responsibility.
So what you're basically telling the parents, if they have a child that they consider is not well brought up, it's not the child to blame, it's them.
It is, we contribute. Why lie? There is no parent who can say that's not me. If you are honest with yourself and you sit back and analyze, subconsciously you could be doing things that you don't know. You know, the way you could be fighting. You think, how is battering being handed over one place to another? But my dad did it, which makes it okay. Remember, your dad is your superhero. Even if it was once, he did it once and nothing happened to him.
In your mind.
Exactly. So we make it okay. Actually, this reminds me of a conversation. Someone went online and they're like, persons living with disability, and everyone was contributing, saying the same thing. I'm like, hey, guys, it is persons with disability. It was a whole debate. And the person had the confidence of saying, but the government says person. I'm like, it does not make it right. It does not make it right.
There is a way Kenyans or people across the world believe in their governments. I'm like,
exactly.
You all should do better.
I'm like, it is wrong. I'm like, go to the Act, 2003 Act 14, and tell me where you see the term living in that Act. Because they went on and on. And I'm like, dude, just even you do your homework. Go and Google is our friend.
Don't just regurgitate
like things. You cannot say because the government. I was honestly, I was disappointed. I was disappointed that is the comeback you will bring.
Yeah, because
after...
the government.
Yes. So are you saying the government is... Hell yeah, the government is wrong.
Yeah.
Those institutions that are using it are wrong. And I've had people in high places, even advocates,
absolutely,
who go up there and say, as people living with this, I'm like, my friend, are you like roomies? They're like, hey, yo, my disability, how are you doing today?
Yeah.
Because that's exactly what we're saying.
I think, and this is an argument that I've had for the longest time, even as we're creating awareness and advocacy towards the community, I think persons with disabilities are perpetrators, number one, of reinforcing the discrimination. One, the discrimination, but also the misinformation that might exist out there in the community about the disability. And not to blame them, because they might not know better, but have they accepted themselves to learn how do we want to be treated, or how do we want to be referred to?
Disability etiquette. How does it make you feel? There is something that Daddy Owen did before his Malaika. And I don't know why I can't get it out of my mind.
Yeah.
So it was him, DJ Euphoria, and the other visually impaired guy, I don't remember his name.
Deno.
I think so.
Yeah.
And the banter that they did it with just made it okay. And we need to normalize those conversations.
Yeah.
Because, you know, like the two of them were like, if we were to race, my friend, I'd leave you. Just to heighten advocacy on assistive devices.
Yeah.
That was my take home of the whole thing. But they were just teasing each other, two PWDs.
Yeah.
They're like, wewe nikishachukua white cane hakuna mali utaenda, utagonga tu kila kitu as you're going.
Yeah.
And he's like, if I take away your wheelchair, ndakuacha hapo mimi ndana nikigonga vitu but ndafika mbele yako, I'll still figure it. And they both laughed about it. You know, but someone else will be like, why would you be talking like that? But we need to normalize. It is part of who they are. And that is where I'm saying you're not living with something. You know,
you're
and it brings about, yes, I am. And this is part of who I am. And that's why that debate of person first. You know, and the worst ones are Kiswahili, my friend. Geli ya Kivi, you know, we won't even get it.
Let us not get there. But on exactly what you've said there, at what level now do we say somebody is being insensitive? Because in the space that I work in, I work with so many persons with disabilities, and I am one of those who has normalized having like dark jokes when I'm around people. But now this sort of overflows when I go into spaces where people haven't really adapted to that particular threshold. So to what extent are we insensitive?
Actually, sensitivity is a personal thing. It is a personal, you can never know. You are okay with it. You know, it will not mean something, but someone else will practically crucify you. Someone went to my YouTube and really wanted to like hammer me when I was getting started before. You know, you don't wake up and end up here being very conversant in the right way of doing things. And you'll even see, even as PWDs themselves, everyone prefers. Let's take an example of those ones who said, I am deaf, I am not hearing impaired. So it is a personal kind of reference. So sometimes if it's a public space, you can take a vote. How would you like me to refer? There are those ones who are like, I prefer abled differently. But the other person who's the donor, who will tell you, if you're able differently, then use those abilities to sort yourself out. No, I'm serious. I'm reporting basically what I've had.
I think this is the best way that I've ever heard about it.
No, because
I think that drives the point home. Okay, if you're able differently,
then those different abilities to sort yourself out, then why are you coming? And you know, for me, the first time I had that, it was very harsh. But it changed my mindset.
And your perspective.
Exactly, because I'm like, okay, let's call a spade a spade. What is the definition of disability? It is about the interaction. If you cannot interact with the environment, and it gives you limitations, then you're disabled. It is just not to demean you, but it is what it is.
It is what it is.
And it took a lot to change the neurodivergence. You know, like when you're saying neurodevelopmental disabilities, like I was about to go to a conversation and someone's like, should we call them conditions? Are they diseases? I'm like, it's not curable. It's not a disease, you know? So autism is not a disease. It is a disability. And there are parents who struggle with the word, that branding, but it is what we make out of it. And one of my key give hope I'm always saying is, see the able and not the label. Yes, you're autistic. Yeah, it makes your life difficult. but you're greater than that. There are those things you can actually do as an individual.
Yeah.
Focus on that.
Yeah.
Focus
I remember
on that.
a mentor in the States was like, Alan, I know people, if you say this out there in the public, you might be crucified, but if you're disabled, you're disabled.
Yes.
Period. There is nothing to add about that.
Yeah.
I know we are very short of time. You're a very busy woman, and we could have this conversation for even more than 2 hours. But let us go straight now to some of the work that you are doing. You could tell us a little bit about that, because April is Autism Awareness Month.
Yes.
Let us start it from there.
So the first quarter of the year into the second is usually my busiest, happiest moment, because I enjoy engaging, raising awareness, cracking my mind as a creator on how we do it different this year. So you find that advocacy is also evolving, and in Africa we are lagging behind. So if you look like, for example, autism, we are on autism awareness. The rest of the world is moving to the hashtag autism acceptance and embrace it. But we are still under our dark ages of cultural influence, where people believe they're being, they were cast, their children should not see the daylight and should be locked in because they are a nuisance. And awareness still remains part of what we have to do in Africa. That is our key mandate at Ande Speaks. Raising awareness, because without awareness, they will not come out for early intervention. Without early intervention, that child's life is practically written off. They will not be able to even contribute to our community, So let's start from there. So in raising awareness, we have the Neuro Digest project, where we have our own podcast, Neuro Digest podcast. We do town halls for special needs hangout. We've been doing town halls to get the state of the nation on ground, which I think now we are encompassing it as neuro conversations and engaging with media. So we have conversations with different media to just raise awareness and also bring the liaison I told you about mentorship, where we link either caregivers or persons with disabilities themselves to come out and speak. We can't be speaking all the time as much as we are Andy Speaks.
You have to give the power to other people. Yes,
and we have to empower and give other people, open the door for someone else. You never know their innate ability in public speaking unless they get the chance. And apart from that, we have the Neuro Caravan, where we offer disability services and medical camps. So what disability services is, you see, the lives of the neurodiverse is not your typical going to school, let's go to school. They need to get education assessment, disability assessment, so that they can be registered by the National Council, which takes an entire team to do. Then access to things like eye care, dental, that typically they might not afford, yet the medications that our children take is detriment to them. Nutrition advice is also something else. Moving from that, we have the Ride for Autism Awareness that is also linked to the Neuro Caravan, because our starting point and our end point, we usually do a medical camp every year on World Autism Awareness Day or during the Neurodiversity Week. And then after that, we raise funds through the Ride for Autism. We raising awareness across towns through hospitals, engaging with the community, distributing flyers and information. And this year, since last year, we're doing it different. So we are sensitizing people to have this permanent source of information, which is our special needs resource portal. We have set up a portal where you can read about all these disabilities, guidance, parenting, the community. We feature special needs heroes on that platform, access to assistive devices, all in one. Kegwere Baka directory, where to get what service. Because I went through all those difficulties and I just want it to be easier for the next parent. And sometimes when someone calls you from Moyale, I have no idea which school is in Moyale, top of mind, and maybe I'm in the middle of something else. So it's easier for me to refer them there and they get all the information. Actually, the one thing I've loved is that everyone I send there, other than thank you, I have not gotten like, this is missing, this is not. So it's like your one-stop shop information portal. And then, so when we raise funds, apart from doing the Neuro Caravan, at the end, beneficiary linked to the Ride for Autism is the setting up of therapy centers and and equipping autism classes. Our learners are, as they call it, special needs learners. They learn differently and they have to be taught differently. So their assistive devices is not as standard as the way you'd say for the visually impaired, braille and whatnot, white cane. And so theirs is very diverse. one autistic person is one autistic person. Do you know how many styles of learning there are? There are kinetic learners, there are visual learners, there are tactile learners. So you have to ensure all these ones are made available.
Yeah.
But the sad reality in our nation is it is a room, and yes, we have a special unit and they feel that that is okay.
Yeah.
But this child needs to learn fine motor skills, because autism also has that effect, and that's why they need occupational therapy, and also to just calm down their hyperness so that they can focus and then be able to listen and learn.
Yeah.
So we are trying to merge this by setting up therapy centers within the school setup. So we've done 4 so far, and equipped equally 4, and then we set up an independent one at our offices, that is the Nexus Therapy Center, where the ones who are not going to school can have access, so that we empower them to be able to transit into the school setup.
Yeah.
And but from that, where else did I live?
You've literally covered everything.
Neurodigest.
You cover it
right,
so quickly
for
that
autism.
you get to a point and you think, is there anything that I've left behind?
It feels
but
like that.
You've indeed covered.
I've interlinked them.
Yeah.
So the 5 that we focus on the areas of education, health, and social protection.
Yeah.
We have Neurodigest for advocacy and awareness.
Yeah.
We have the Ride for Autism for awareness, still sort of linked, but it was our first flagship project. We have the Neuro Caravan, which is taking care of your health and support. And we actually do distribution of sanitary towels to schools. We've done like for like 2,000 learners.
Yeah.
So, and we give them reusable. So in another 2-3 years, we will still be doing that in education about sexual and reproductive health.
Yeah.
Yes, don't assume PWDs don't. Yeah, they need to know and they need to learn, because they're still human beings.
Yeah.
Let's call us a spade a spade. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because those are things people don't think about at all. So that is under our Neuro Caravan still. So it's multifaceted. Yeah. And then it also handles the social protection aspect.
Yeah.
We have our special needs resource hub, which on the website is www.specialneedsresourcehub.org.
Yeah.
So you get all the information right up there. And so Neuro Caravan, and then the therapy centers set up that we've been doing.
What is your message to parents and those of and the people at large this April as we celebrate Autism Awareness Month?
So this April, we are moving the conversation globally at the UN of sharing positive change stories. If you know someone who knows someone who's awesome, and we have the Asperger's and the extremely talented ones, bring them so we can feature them and create opportunities for them, because we want to move the narrative from surviving to thriving. So let's come together, supporters in what we're doing. I know we have our pay bill numbers. I think 328871 is the paybill number.
We'll confirm it somewhere on the screen.
You will put it on the screen for us, so that if you want to support any of the projects, so that we have early intervention. So this is how it goes. This is how the whole thing goes, right? We raise awareness. When someone realizes that they need the support, they go get the information on the web portal, right? After that, they're able to transit. If they have to go, they have the contacts, they have everything on the resource portal. They can be able to get early intervention through the therapy centers that we set up, and access in the schools, being in the right school. And then now from there, you're able to nurture them into independence. And we are working on transition. We have a project coming up for transition and career. That is our working project and coming up soon. And this year, apart from Garissa supporting the primary school in education, we are also supporting, in partnership with the Nyeri Archdiocese, we are supporting them in setting up a therapy center in Nanyuki to cater for that. There is a great need. It's one of the highest numbers of PWDs in Nanyuki. So we are going to work together with the church in that. So we don't discriminate on who we work with. Our end goal is, let's create opportunities for these children to thrive. Let's raise awareness so that that parent who has locked their child is able to support them. You as a neighbor, learn about it. Then you can help a parent who's not even aware what's going on with their child. So be the voice and join us in our journey as we ride for autism awareness and do projects that offer the support for these persons to be independent. And that way, caregivers will also get relieved. So now if you get independent, you're able to go to work and sustain work.
One of my mentor always shared this story. We are winding up, and he's like, a mother was taken to court, and I think you've had this story as well. A mother was taken to court, and she was being accused of locking her child in the house, and she was like, she asked the judge, there is the option of me staying with my child, si sote tukufe njaa, ama nitoke huko nje nene nimtafutie akuje akule. The judge was perturbed, and the judge, I don't know if it was a he or she, they just cancelled the case, and they're like, yours is a serious issue.
It is a fact, because we are always quick to judge. We see what we want to see. We never take time to understand and follow up and get to know the story behind the story, not just what you see. But many caregivers are going through a lot. It's just that not everyone has the energy to keep shouting about it or to bring it to fore. And that's why we do what we do. We try and speak.
I shared that example because now with what you're doing, then that means that that particular parent can be able to take care of the child and also go out there and take care of business. Dr. Reed, thank you very much for giving us a bit of your time. I know it's an overkill, but we appreciate it, and we wish you all the best in the work that you endeavor to achieve.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.